Good evening from Southeast Asia. And tonight we're going to do Canada. No, we're not going to do Canada. I think Trudeau has already done Canada quite enough to suit, pretty much everybody with a brain. Okay, don't get me started. All right, I lived in Canada for a long time, many years. Okay, here's the first one. Near Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Date, 1912. Time is unknown because they didn't have no clocks in 1912. They had sundials and, if it was darkish, they didn't. Okay. 1912, I like that era quite a bit because there weren't a bunch of movies polluting all kinds of little gullible brains. There were comic books, some books, not a lot of sci-fi, little bit floating around, but generally the brains were pretty virgin when it came to UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. So they tend to get a teeny little bit more credibility than reports, that come in from 2015, when all the little brains are polluted with outrageous crap. So 1912, that's a good year. A round craft, something like a helicopter. Oh, wait a minute. They didn't have helicopters in 1912. How do they know it was like a helicopter? What the hell? I guess they had people trying to build them. And, they would flop around and fall over and crash. That was about it. A round craft, something like a helicopter. I think I know what they're talking about. These were totally morphodite things that none of them ever flew at all. But I guess they were calling them helicopters at that time. So, okay. A round craft, something like a helicopter with a glass cab. Now, come on. Helicopters in those days didn't have glass cabs. It didn't even fly, for God's sake. I guess they're not saying this was a helicopter that had a glass cab. It's very confusing. Whatever the hell it is, it was round, had a glass cab. Landed on the farm of the father of 6-year-old Abram Penner. Vancouver. This is out of Vancouver. I lived in Vancouver for quite a while, and then all up and down the coast. Vancouver back in the day, in the 60s, it was a good place to be. Now it's a good place to be from. One man, these creepazoids in this contraption, whatever the hell it was, landed on the farm. They came up to the little boy, apparently. It's a very kind of a simplified report. He says, one man felt his body. Oh, God. They admired his hands. Really? Well, that's not all that unusual. A lot of times people report that aliens come down and they, oh, look at that hair. Oh, my God, it's amazing. Okay, they have different hands than we do. They have round feet. Okay. Well, I'm sort of getting interested here. It's pretty common that aliens would come in the reports, supposedly in the reports, and they would, come up to or otherwise capture a specimen and look them over and be kind of intrigued by what they look like. Like, I guess they never saw them in the travel brochure before they came to Earth, Interesting. They felt his body. That's fairly commonly reported. They admired his hands. I have, in my 9,400 case database of encounter claims, I have run across this a few times. They were amazed by the hands. Because sometimes aliens are reported to have, claws or paws or tentacles or, whatever. So when they come across hands, our hands, they must think, my God, that's disgusting and weird. Okay, they have different hands than we do. Like what, you little spud? They have round feet. Okay, round feet, been reported way, many times, like elephant feet. Way a lot of times. Short legs, and I'm talking about going back 2,000 years. Thousands of reports. Every continent, most countries, most languages. You get these similarities in these reports. Round feet. Short legs, very, very common. No knees, common enough. And no elbows, common enough. And nobody can figure out what the hell they bend their legs and their arms. But we, the public, are not privy to any dissection reports, so we don't know if they have bones or if they have like cartilage, kind of semi-flexible. They operate on mind power, reported way too many times to even mention. He says he understood what they said. His father told him never to tell anyone. Smart man. That's a nice little report. That's only one paragraph. It's a nice little report. It's J.A. Hynek. Was the source on it. Transcriber, I should say. That's a nice little report. Okay, what we do here is we try to pick these things apart. And pretty often we can. And when we can't, we say, well, maybe there's some credibility to this story. You know, we don't have video, we don't have pictures, we don't have radar tracings, we don't have, radiation readings, we don't have anything like that. It didn't say if the father saw it or not. God, how terrifying that must have been to some poor little turkey kid, I would have just passed out and died. Okay, so we decide if there is possibly any credibility, and if there is, we've got to say how much. Okay, the way we've been doing this for years and years and years and years, through how many we got? We got probably got 1,000 of these out there in various forms and formats under different names. We take a little pinch of sand, or whatever, coffee grounds, kitty litter, and we drop it in a big bucket. And we've always said if that bucket is ever full, then we got to say, okay, we believe in aliens. Okay, and as of now, what episode is this? This is 280. Oh, heck. Hell. Wait a minute, what is it? Yeah, it's 284. 284 of this series. As of this episode of this series, our bucket is 90.45% full. So we be getting there. And we've only done 1,400 reports out of this collection. 9,400 total. We got 8,000 left to go. Okay. So how much sand are we going to drop in the bucket for this thing? I sort of instinctively like it. I don't know. Maybe because I once upon a time liked Canucks and considered myself one. Not so much anymore. Kind of embarrassed for him a little bit nowadays. Sad, as it were. I recoil from them, okay? Oh, God. All right. I'm going to give 10 grains of sand. 10 grains. That's appropriate. I dropped that in the bucket. Okay, makes it teensy tiny little bit fuller. Okay, gone. All right. Oh man, we're only doing Canadian reports tonight, but this one just popped up sequentially. I said Island of Muck, Highland Region, Scotland. Island of Muck. Good. No, we're not going to do it, but we'll come back to it eventually. Island of Muck. What the hell goes on in the Island of Muck? Oh, God. Okay, here's Georgian Bay, Ontario, Canada. Never been there. Late August 1914, time 1700, so 5 o'clock at night. William J. Keel, 18, with 7 other people. I like it when there's 7 people. Because, the chances are they're not all crazy. And, wait. Oh, no, it's getting crazy. Oh, shit. I spoke too soon. William J. Keel, 18, with 7 other people and a deer. Told you. Watched a strange machine floating in a cove. What was a deer doing there? hell. Watched a strange machine floating in a cove with 5 little men in light brown clothes and square helmets taking a hose out of the water. Okay, we pick them apart line by line, looking for the BS. Light brown, that's reported often enough, clothing. Square helmets, that bothers me. I don't know why anybody, alien or earthling or anybody, would make a square helmet, because certainly the head inside is not square. It's just anatomically unfeasible. So why would they make the helmet square? I mean, it's not good for dispersing impact energy. It's going to have a tendency to catch on things if you're moving around in close quarters. I mean, yeah, they're cheap and simple to make, but seems like the aliens, don't have to worry about cutting corners on their helmets. Square helmets. Okay, so they're taking a hose out of the water. Okay, that's reported way too many times. They're sucking water. That's what they do. You live on the backside of the moon. There ain't a lot of water. So you just come down here. It only takes 14 seconds to get here. And you suck a bunch of nice clean water out of a pond somewhere. You go back, you probably sell it, makes a little money on the moon. When one of these went into the craft, Keel could see inside a light green cone with some kind of net in the center and some pipe in front. Okay, Lazar, are you there? You ever seen anything like that? Explain it. Break down the components. Tell us what the hell we're looking at. A light green cone. Doesn't say how big. This is the kid, glimpsing in through the door, the porthole or whatever, to the inside of this, whatever the hell it is. Strange floating machine in a cove. A light green cone, ain't no V8, with some kind of net in the center and some pipe in front. Okay, what the hell. Our brains are the size of the brain of a bug, what do we know? The vessel was gray, looking like dented lead. Now, God, I need to be the interviewer on these. Dented. Okay, were the dents symmetrical? Did it look like they were designed to be there? Or did it look like this thing was being driven for about 1,000 years by Thai nationals? So every square inch is covered with dents, accidental dents. It's important. It was perhaps 15 feet high with a silver band around it. So often there's a band of some type around these things. Theories have been explained to me of what that band is and why it's there. I'm not going to go into it someday. Ask me, I'll tell you. It emitted multicolored flashes. What, the band or the thing? Then, although one little man was still hanging on outside, it rose about 12 feet. Well, this is effed up. Although one little man was still hanging on outside, it rose up about 12 feet after pausing while water drained from its square-looking bottom. It took off silently, trailing white vapor, which would be the water vapor. Where's the little turquoise that was hanging on out there? Think about it for a minute, though. If this particular one was using an anti-gravity thing so that at an altitude of 12 feet or any other feet, it was weightless, whatever was hanging onto it would have been weightless also. So not as if he's hanging by his alien fingernails out there fighting for his life. He probably just at some point would have been no brainer. If it rockets off at 1,000 miles an hour, he's not going to feel any acceleration at all. I mean, it's not going to fly away from him. He's enveloped within that field. So he's not going to feel anything. He's going to see the Earth receding. He's not going to feel any accelerations at all. He's not going to have any weight gain. He probably weighs just about nothing at that point, so he can easily just heft himself up and walk in through the door, porthole thing, whatever, hatchway. Huh. There's no mention of him falling off, so... that's another J.A. Hynek. Okay, no notes. Nobody wrote any notes on this. Okay, credibility or not. I want a real-time poll so people can go, yes, no, maybe, how many grains? Georgian Bay, Ontario, California, Canada. Well, I don't know. I mean, my bullshit meter is not going off in the back of my brain. It's not always accurate, but it's fairly accurate. I like it. I like it. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to pick it apart. I can't. It's got too many elements that have popped up on too many other reports going back 1,000, 2,000 years all around the world. Some of them very, very, very credible with many, many witnesses. Okay, I'm not going to, click it into the corn. I'm going to say, okay, there's possibly some credibility here. How much? I'm going to give it 10 grains. I guess 10 more grains of sand. Okay. I like that one. Huh. The reports out of Canada are a hell of a lot better than the ones out of Mexico or Uzbekistan, for God's sake. Here's Fontainebleau, Quebec, Canada, November 1918, times night. 18-year-old Maria Dion was returning home from a dance. Oh, God, yeah, you know what's going to happen. It happens every single time girls walk alone late at night coming home from a dance. You know what's going to happen. And as she walked along a wooded area, she's so smart. Several short, 2-foot-tall, green-colored figures suddenly appeared and began chasing her. Yeah, baby, we know what they want. Just give it to them, they'll go away. Oh, God, you'll make their day. You'll be famous back on Zeta Reticuli. The creatures are very quick despite their size. Well, it didn't mean anything. They're small, so naturally you would expect them to be quick. She noticed that the beings wore what appeared to be helmets and uniforms. Somehow she was able to elude the little men. I be thinking she is pretty damn lucky. Because I'd be thinking if they would have caught her. This would be a very, very different report. You want a different kind of report? Go look up. I don't know what the title or what the number of it is. It's somewhere in these things. It was a Russian report. And it had to do with copious quantities of frog spawn after an alleged rape by aliens. Frog spawn. I'll probably do it again because it was such a cool one that I like going through it repeatedly. So, okay. I kind of like this one. I can go 4 grains of sand. 4 grains. Okay. What else we got here? Are we done? Did we do our quota? No, we got one more. We're at Camperville, Manitoba, Canada. Winter 1930 times late night. Yeah, God, it's cold up there. On a cold winter night, as the whole family slept, they were suddenly awakened by the keen howling and frenzied barking of their dogs. Because they're being eaten one by one. Several family members quickly rushed out after getting quickly dressed. The dogs acted as if they were rabid, but never approached the figure of a strange man that was standing by the fence next to the road. Okay, so anybody out there walking around that time of night, that time of year, that kind of temperature, they got some kind of problem. He was not wearing proper clothing. In the dead of winter with temperatures below 30, they mean below 30 or 30 below? I'm thinking 30 below. Okay, I mean, just below 30, that's pretty tolerable. 30 below begins to get intolerable. This figure wore a black tail. What the hell? Wait. This figure wore a black-tailed tuxedo and a white shirt. Well, that's quite curious. Chamber around there, Mabel. He stood there watching the dogs, and then he looked at the family. They walked towards him to see what he wanted, but he backed up to the dirt road. They didn't have any kind of proper... Well, in 1930, they probably had some of those old battery-operated lanterns, so they could have lit him up if they had one. Okay, he watched them approach him and then walked backwards down the road. I remember this vaguely. I went through this years and years and years ago. I don't remember what conclusion I came to on it. No matter how fast the men walked, they could not get close to him. He seemed to be walking backward one step at a time, but no matter how fast they ran, they could not reach him. The men gave up and returned home. They never saw the stranger again. Well, okay. We're not looking for Bigfoots. We're not looking for time travelers. We're not looking for any other bullshit. We're only looking for aliens. And there's no flying saucers here. This guy doesn't do anything. He got no ray gun, He didn't eat any dogs. He didn't probe any girls. I mean, he could be some other kind of paranormal creepazoid thing, but I'm not seeing aliens here. I just... This is for some other study thing. Into the corn. Okay, and all tapes are copyright 2024 by stockphotosworldwide.com. You can go there. You can go to theyclaim.com. You can go to, what else? Oh, alienanalprobe.com. And a whole bunch of other domains have these things. And they were all around the world in the form of podcasts, just audio podcasts. And then we got tired of that format. We jerked them all off, but some places didn't jerk them off. And so there's still rogue copies of the non-audio podcast flying around out there somewhere. Don't know where. Can't keep up with it all at this point. Don't care. Because I fully expect to be abducted, one of these days really soon. And then I'm going to Zeta Reticuli, and I'd be laughing at you suckers back down here in this miserable planet. So I don't really care, Okay, thank you very much. Oh, we're 24 into this, 24. Our limit's supposed to be 14 minutes. We just serial abusers. We can't do it. Thank you very much, and see if this camera's working. Thank you very much, and good evening, and good night. How do you stop this thing? What